So one question I receive here at the channel pretty much on a daily basis is how do you get certain exotics from previous seasons? Now, first and foremost, if you've been playing this game from day one, you already know everything I'm about to say, so please do not waste your time watching this video. But for those of you out there who are still on the hunt for certain exotics, today we're going to talk about some of the most efficient ways to farm, and as always, answer some of the questions you've sent the channel. Alright, my YouTube family, welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and today's video, my fellow agents, is all about trying to help you farm for some of the best exotics in the game. As always, we're going to jump right into the details, and if you happen to enjoy this, do me a favor and hit that like button. It truly helps the channel out. And if you want to stay up to speed on all things Division, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button as well. Now, first of all, every single exotic from previous seasons are in the general loot pool, so it does not matter if you're looking for the Memento, the Ninja Bike, Catharsis, St. Elmo's, again, whatever you may be trying to pick up, you do have a chance of getting it to drop in the open world or from opening an exotic cache, and this is all about showing you the most efficient ways to farm, at least in my opinion. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Now, with that being said, at the top of our list, we have Playing Countdown. Now, this is easily the best way to farm for loot in the game without a doubt. You're going to get a ton of loot in a very short amount of time, and the other benefit is that you can choose your targeted loot. So let's say if you're looking for a certain assault rifle, you have the ability to select that category as your targeted loot, which will increase your chances of getting the weapon to drop. Now remember, as I say that, nothing in this game is guaranteed whatsoever. So again, when you're farming for exotics in Countdown, you may get St. Elmo's, you may get the Capacitor. Again, it all boils down to luck. And it's also important to mention you may choose assault rifles as your targeted loot, but you may get a backpack instead. Remember, my fellow agents, it's completely and totally random sometimes. Now, the other benefit about playing Countdown, and most of you may know this, is that when you finish a Countdown run, you're going to get Countdown resources, and with those, you will be able to go to the Countdown vendor and buy exotic caches. Now, on average, it's going to take you about 15 minutes to complete a round of Countdown, and for the record, that's doing it on challenging, just using random matchmaking. And in about 2 rounds of Countdown, you will have enough resources to buy an exotic cache. Now, the other thing I need to mention as we move on is that anytime you open an exotic cache in this game, you're going up against the entire general loot pool when it comes to exotics. So you could get a backpack, you could get a mask, it could be an assault rifle, an SMG. Once again, it boils down to luck, my fellow agents. And finally, for those of you out there wondering if you should farm this on challenging or heroic, in my opinion, you want to choose challenging, and there are 2 reasons for that. First of all, you're going to be able to find a group pretty damn quick, and secondly, the chances of your clearing this on challenging are much better than heroic. Remember, the entire point is to get to the end, get those resources to buy caches. Hope this helps you out, my friends, and as always, questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know. Now, the next method on our list are priority objectives, and this was introduced into the game with Title Update 22, and no matter what, regardless of the difficulty you choose when you do one of these, you're going to be able to get an exotic. Now, you need to make sure you pay attention to the reward at the bottom, and the reason I say that is because you want to make sure your reward is actually going to be an exotic. Now, you can see here, all I need to do is go to an open world activity completed in a certain area of the map, and once I do, I'm guaranteed an exotic item. That's it. I mean, it's seriously that simple. Now, there are a few other details that I do want to talk about really quick, and again, this is for new and returning players. Now, first and foremost, you can do this on any difficulty that you want. It does not matter. Choose what you want to do. You're going to get that exotic no matter what. Now, secondly, when you go to that priority objective page, you may not see any priority objectives that actually give you an exotic as a reward. At that point, what you're going to do is you're going to re-roll the entire page. Now, you have the ability to do that once every hour. And not only that, you're going to earn multiple re-roll attempts by just completing priority objectives in the first place. So it's something I recommend all players do when they're jumping into the game. And as always, if you have any questions on how this may work, please let me know in the comments section. But as you saw in the gameplay footage, it took me less than a minute to clear one of those territory controls, got an exotic for my time. If it's something you already have, you break it down for the component. And once again, as I've said previously, every single exotic that is in the general loot pool has the chance of dropping when you do this. Now, the last thing I'd like to talk about today is just farming in the open world when it comes to targeted loot. And for all level 40 players, you can see on your map at the bottom of the page, there's a prompt that says show targeted loot. Once you press that, you're going to see what loot is located where. Now, the small icons are going to indicate the loot that is behind a mission, and the large ones are going to indicate the loot that is in the open world. Now, remember, this is going to change on a daily basis. In my opinion, the best thing to do is, if you're farming for something as a solo player, you want to choose something that is located in the open world. And the reason I say that is because that way you're not just forced to farm the same mission over and over again. This gives you the ability to farm control points, just territory controls, just roaming around the open world. And again, when you are farming in an area that has a certain type of targeted loot, that is going to increase your chances of hopefully getting the exotic that you're looking for that happens to be in that category. Now, when it comes to difficulty, and most of you know this, in this game, the higher the difficulty and more directives you have active is always going to equate to better loot and more XP. However, it is not required. I know people that get more exotics on challenging than heroic. Once again, as you've heard me say multiple times in this video, it's just dumb luck sometimes. Now, the last thing I'd like to talk about, and most of you know this as well, is there are other ways to get exotics in this game. You have certain projects like you can see on screen. You have the textile vendor Danny Weaver, who happens to sell exotic caches on a weekly basis. And as a solo player, one of my favorite ways to farm is hitting up the summit. Once again, you can choose your targeted loot. I'm going to leave a link to an unlimited boss farm you can do in the summit at any time you want. In my opinion, it is still a very efficient way to try to get exotics, especially as a solo player. Last but not least today, my fellow agents, I want to talk about the exclusive exotics in this game. When I say that, I'm referring to items that can only be farmed in certain game modes or on certain difficulties. Now, a little while back, I did post a video on exactly how to get those items, and I will leave a link to that in the video description. Now, as I start to wrap this video up, we all know that the term best can really be subjective sometimes because it all depends on how you play this game. However, there happen to be certain things in this game you want to have. In my opinion, items like St. Elmo's, the Memento Backpack, the Catharsis, the Ninja Bike, there are so many different exotics out there that can completely and totally change how you play this game. So do me a favor, let me know in the comments section what are your favorite exotics to use and why. On that note, I'm going to start to wrap this up. As always, I want to thank you all for your incredible support of this channel. Please let me know of any other questions you have I did not address. Thank you once again for the privilege of your time. It's going to be a very good year, my fellow agents. And as I mention at the end of every one of these, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.